Thanks for coming back to PrepperNow. I wanna talk about this. I tried to find it and I wasn't able to find it. And this is the speech that Biden gave at West Point. Okay, so I've got it loaded up over here. Okay, real quick. So he made a gaffe, whatever. I'm gonna get there though. I was trying to find it on What Finger. And What Finger's great. They've got a lot of stuff that you can get all over the place, but no rhyme or reason. Kind of like the Crisis Report. Crisis Report, I just kind of roll through it. It's loosely done on a time basis. I start with whatever's going on the day early in the morning, and then the last things that have happened the day have happened. But I kind of just go through it, from SMO to Middle East to some talk about the bird flu and all that. So there's not really a rhyme or reason to. It's just I get it, I talk about it, and put it out there. And What Finger's the same way. But What Finger's a really good site. If you're conservative, and I am, that's the. I'm not. How do I put it? I was trying to talk to this last night. I was talking about a topic. I'm not going to name what the topic was, but the topic was I'm not going to name what the topic was, but the premise is that like you're kind of hardcore on it. And I said, look, I got no problem with these certain people. What I have a problem with is an agenda. Okay, I don't like an agenda. If things happen naturally, okay. If things are put into an agenda and the agenda is to do it to disrupt and to basically take the knees out of this great country, like right here, then I have a problem with it. Okay? Then you're talking manipulation. And I mean, honestly, vicariously speaking, you're talking about screwing with my kids. So why do I come here and why do I talk about stuff? Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to be here, super long. I'm 50 years old. I'm not going to be here for another 100 years or anything like that. Like my time is I'm on the downhill slope. I've got, many decades left, but, to be honest with you, I just, there's only so much time. And so my kids will be here, after. And so because of that, I care what they inherit, I really do. I want them to have the same opportunities, that I had. And the thing is that, when you look at my parents, to my generation, to my kids' generation, and it's about 4 generations really, because I'm an older dad. I'm a 50-year-old with a 5-year-old, right? So there's 2 generations in there potentially. I could be a granddad, and what the kid gets is important to me, And I think there's a lot of outside forces, and I think the outside forces are there not to be, nuanced and beneficial to the country. I think they're framed in a way because they want to kneecap us and they want to cause a lot of societal problems and basically make it so this great country is not so great anymore. And then they can come in and say, look how not so great it is. We need to try another system. We need to get rid of the Constitution. Maybe we should try something like this. And then from there, you can put in whatever you want. I saw the story of the son of Klaus, and he basically it's just What Finger reporting on Glenn Beck's video and how this guy basically wants to turn us into subjects, and by subjects I mean like straight on, we don't really have any free will. So when I see that, I connect it to my kid, and I'm saying, you trying to make it so my kid doesn't have free will. Well, I got a problem with that, and trust me, I'm you better not try it. You better not try it. I'll use this big fat brain for things you can't even imagine. So my kids are my legacy, and so because of that, I do care. I really do. And that's because what I come from. My dad is out of hospital. He's doing good, thanks to people that prayed for him and said kind words. He's He's doing all right, and it's not the worst case scenario. It's manageable. But he's 80 years old, and he had me when he was 30, and he cares about what's going on. We talk about stuff all the time. And if you think I'm any kind of passionate about my kids, you should hear him talk, and especially because of what he came from, because he grew up in a very abusive family, and he didn't expect to have the things that he has, and he worked his freaking tail off. So when people come out and they're like, oh, it's because you had privilege, I look at my father directly and say, oh, no, it's not. That man was supposed to die, a drunk in Kentucky working at a coal mine or a factory by the age of my age, by 50. And he did everything he could to go to college. And, he was considered dumb. And he was told by my mom's father, my grandfather, that he was not dumb, and that he actually had a lot of great things, and basically tutored him through college and got him from remedial courses. My father played sports, so he was there with a little bit of extra grace, and found out pretty quickly that he actually wasn't dumb. He was actually a pretty smart dude, and if you met him, you'd see it. He is he's incredibly smart. Photographic memory, remembers everything. You could ask him directions to some, gas station in Detroit where he lived in the 70s, and he'll tell you to the T where everything was, the bushes on the connecting, plot of land to whatever, the signs and everything else. He's really good that way. But I digress. The thing is that we care. So I said this on the exiting of the crisis report. I said, this is a Memorial Day, and we should thank all the people that have given their lives for this country and the Constitution and swore by it. So that's when I see like Mayorkas sitting there, like, did he take a oath to the Constitution? Because everything I've seen from that man would say quite otherwise, and I'm not in a kind of job where I have to take an oath to the Constitution. But the first thing I got with my degree, with my undergrad, was a Constitution. I did. And I still have it to this day, because I knew at that point, and becoming, politically involved and caring and all that little red book was something really important and should be cared for and should be respected. And, I'll never have to put my life on the line for it, but out of respect for these people, the ones standing there with the flag in Arlington, I need to take it seriously, and I need to try to get the next generation some critical thinking skills and some respect as it pertains to our country and what happens. So this guy obviously is a vet, and he's not happy with what's going on. And a lot of people are not. And so, here we are in 2024, and I'm old enough to remember the 70s and the 80s. And I saw this trailer. There's a Reagan movie coming out. I don't know if you've seen this. I didn't know it. I was watching trailers on, YouTube, and just it popped in. It was in a short, and I was like, holy crap. And it's Dennis Quaid. He does a pretty good Reagan. But I just started to reflect on that and remembering, Reagan's America. And I'm sure there's people that are going to say, oh, he, did things that let a lot of people into the country. You could go back and you can pick apart anyone. And Reagan was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But America as a country at that time was a good place to live. I remember seeing his photo on the wall in my elementary school, because they did that back then. And you respected it, you revered it. You say that even if one of the parents goes in and that wasn't her candidate, she chose Carter or eventually Mondale, but you still respected the man in office. Well, now here we are, and I mean, you've got people in Congress saying that they will not, no matter what happens, certify Trump into office if he wins, coming up here. And think about that. I mean, you want to talk about just sheer arrogance. You represent a contingency of people in a certain area of the country. And trust me, the way they think in California is not the way they think in West Virginia. But that's the beautiful thing about the experiment of America. It's the laboratory of democracy. If you, or republic, I know we're a republic. Again, that whole freaking thing in the comments. The whole thing is that, if you want to live in California and allow, drug addicts to paw at you downtown and, people to go into clinics and undo their child at 8.5 months, then you can live there and do that. I wouldn't personally want to live there. I like where we live. We're in a very red part of a blue state, a very blue state, but it's nice here. So, and we're real close to a whole bunch of other red areas, specifically West Virginia. I'm in central Maryland, for those that don't know. And it's a great place to live. It's good. People are nice. Got everything you could ever hope for, and it's a nice area. But there's a lot of people out there that are really unhappy with what's going on. People like this guy, and there's people that are mad. And kind of, I was searching for Joe's speech from West Point, and the reason why is because he supposedly made a veiled threat. Now, I don't know if this is true, and I wanted to drill down and get the specific language that he used, but there are people that are accused him of basically telling the military there, the West Point kids, that eventually, we might get to a point where a rogue political movement might try to take things in a way that is not constitutional. Okay, Constitution has laid out. Now, I mean, we could split hairs and say that currently the way that states are doing their elections is potentially not. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying you can make this argument. The way that things are done on an electoral basis is not in line with the Constitution. The Constitution says we have a specific day. There's a day, and there's not a season, if you will. So, you can make that point. Point I'm making is that Joe supposedly made a veiled threat that the fine folks at West Point that are graduating, and they've been put through a program of study and military that previous generations didn't get. Things that were focused on victimhood and things that were focused on lifestyle and other things that really didn't used to infiltrate the military. The military used to be about protection of the country and not some stupid political platform. So, it is what it is. And I was trying to find it, but I got this instead. I found this guy, and then, of course, this right here. Joe making a gaffe, so let's talk about that. He said he was mocked because he seemed to have lost his train of thought during a speech at West Point. Well, I mean, the guy has lost his train of thought multiple times. He was a gaffe machine in his 60s. So in his 80s, I think he's 80. He's close. He's a gaffe. He's the AI of gaffe, if you will. So, I want things to be all on the up and up. I don't really care who does what, but I just want things to be all on the up and up. I understand that, and that's why, when people were freaking out in 2016 about Orange Man Bad getting into controls of the country, I wasn't really worried about it because I've taught government for many years, and I know that the way the fabric and the framework of the country is, there's really not a way for a head of state to go super rogue and to do things. I mean, he could try if he really had a, commandeering of the military and other stuff, and he really just had a full control of a lot of aspects of the government, and everybody was just, in lockstep with him. And I don't think anybody would ever have that, as many as you want to put loyalists in. But if you had that ability, you could really commandeer things in a way. But if you know the way our country works, that's not really possible. Not due to the judicial, era and the reason why, or area. Because, I mean, you've seen it. You've seen it. It's happened to Joe. It's happened to Orange Man Bad. It's happened to Obama and everybody before them. Legal challenges. It's gotten so bad to the point now that we have a term for it. It's called lawfare, right? So you can't really do things that get rogue. You can't really make it so that happens. So all the people that freak out over everything, like, oh my God, even when Joe got in, I wasn't like, oh my God, this is, going to be awful, because I knew that, the way the House is set up, that there was a little bit of a backstop there. The Senate wasn't great at 51-49 or 50, whatever it was. But again, it takes, two houses to tango. So I wasn't real worried, if you will. And so when people get worried about that, like we're gonna have a dictator, he's gonna be an orange dictator, I just want to smack him upside the head and say, you really don't understand the way things are. That's not the way the country works. It was set up, 200 plus years ago, so that couldn't happen. Like, if you really know the way things are and all the checks and balances and everything, it's not really possible. So, and I'm sure someone will come and say, well, yeah, it is, it really isn't, because there's enough people in there in areas where I think they would at least sing an alarm bell and say, hey, they're doing this. And that's what's happened a lot. If you look at all this, there's a lot of people that have said, they've called out, said, this is a problem, this is happening, we got to look for this, got to look for that. Look at all the things that we were warned about in 2020. Think about all that, all the different things that were going to come in and the way our lives are going to change. And there's going to peppers, please, and all that kind of stuff. Why didn't that happen? It's because enough people around us and in places of power, in places of industry, in places of no power. They're just regular citizens. They stopped it. They made it. And it doesn't mean it's not going away. Doesn't mean you can rest on your laurels. Trust me, they're trying everything they can, nefarious as they get, in the background. They're trying again to do things like that. But, it's not as easy as some of these boneheads would think, and they sit there and they freak out. And, there are people that, and this is on both sides. Joe is aggravating to me. He is. But I know that he's not really running the show. I think most people know that by now. Like, he goes up, he gives his speeches, but he's not exactly a brainiac sitting back there thinking of stuff. I was thinking this with the whole, I made the comment that, in Iran, that the president, Raisi, when his chopper went down, he was losing the head of state. It was like, no, there's the Ayatollah, he's the supreme, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, okay, but they're all in this fabric of the way the Iranian government is, The Ayatollah is, quote unquote, the thought guy and the main guy and all that. But there's people under. You don't get the name of the butcher of Tehran, which Raisi's nickname was, because you're sitting there as an order taker or whatever. Like, you gotta have a little bit of you gotta have a little bit of initiative to get to that name. So, same thing with all this. I thought Mr. Soros, for those that don't know, if you don't know what his real name is, look it up. Or you can email me, Mr. Soros, Sorrows. You could say he's an intellectual in the background crafting a lot of this stuff. Look at his NGOs and everything else. he, you know, he's definitely putting some input in there, and there's other people as well. I mean, you don't think that HRC isn't putting some intellect into there for their platform? Absolutely. So it is what it is. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. But this whole thing with Joe, I don't know if it was a veiled threat or not, but it is concerning. Not so much that he said it, but the people in the background are writing it. I get concerns about the the Congress people that are saying they're not going to certify things and that they should take matters into their own hand. That's not the way things are set up, and it on its face is going to cause all this conflict that people have been worried about, but, at the same time saying, you know what, we'll work it out. It'll work itself out. And that's a problem, and I was kind of thinking about that earlier. I forget what the quote is exactly of George Washington, but George Washington effectively said, we're going to get to a point with a party system, where you've got political parties, that it's going to become sports ball, and you're not going to be into the country anymore. You're going to be into your team, And being in education, I've got a lot of people that are really into their team, and their team is Joe's team. And that really shouldn't be the goal. The goal should not be, I want my team to be in power so we can enact upon everybody else the things we have waiting, whatever they may be, for better or for worse. It should kind of be like, what's best for the country? And I don't think about my team before my country. I think about my country before anything below it, besides, of course, worrying about your family. But if there's a strong and good country going on, then it's going to be beneficial to your family. I think we have all benefited from the previous decades and centuries of a pretty great system, all things considered. Definitely flawed, definitely things we can change and all that. But, I mean, we've all basically been the beneficiaries of a pretty cool thing. I've been to many other countries, and I wouldn't change where I live for the world. And I think we can keep it going, but at this point, there are a lot of people that are just trying to take and consolidate power into a certain amount of hands and really potentially take a lot of our rights away. I have hypothetical conversations. I got into education because I wanted to potentially take some people on. I noticed even 15 years ago when I started my path that there were things in education that were concerning. This is when I was starting to consider marriage and wife and then kids. And I was worried about what I was seeing at that time in 2009, 2010, the global financial crisis, a lot of the policies that Barack Obama was putting in. And I noticed pretty quickly that education was a key component of this, and what they do. And so I thought, you know what, we're going to roll the sleeves up. We'll get in there. It'd be a good way to switch from, running restaurants and get in there. My mom was an educator, so why not? So went in there, and whole time in the back of my head saying, someday I might have to intellectually take people on. So when you do, you better be on your A game, and you better be able to destroy whoever. And so, I like mock debate myself. That's why I love my wife. People know my wife. She's excellent devil's advocate. All these conversations are coming. We're going to have these conversations with people. We're going to have direct engagement with them and say, bro, WTF, why do you think that way? Why do you think that Orange Man Bad is going to be, an orange Adolf? Like, why do you think that? It's not even in the same realm of things. Sure, he's got personality disorders. He's your typical psychotic because he wants to be a leader. They say this is all psychologically proven. It's like you have to have a bit of psychopathy to want to be a leader. You just do. I'm not saying that on orange man bad specifically. I'm saying on all of them, whether that's Joe, Barack Obama, Clinton, Reagan, whoever. Like, you have a little bit of narcissism and psychopathy to do it, because you're trying to run things, and like, I don't want that power. If someone was like, hey, PrepperNow, we're gonna put you in, you can serve as your representative, we got the full backing of this party and yada yada yada, I'd be like, no way. I don't want to do it. So I'd rather come here and piss and moan and take people on in the education realm. And the reason why is because these things are going to happen. Someone else will do it. But, you look at all this going on, and really what it is there are some D-bags in the back that, for whatever thing, they just can't stand the fact that we are, or at least were, a pretty darn good country with good people. I mean, you go out there, and Americans, I meet people all the time. I go out there and, I play music, and I'll meet people all the time, and 9 out of 10 people you meet are just, it doesn't mean they're going to go and give you the shirt off their back, but they're nice people. Most people want to do the right thing. Most people want to live in a comfortable country. Most people want to see prosperity from their family and everybody else. Most people are not into psychopathy and wanting to become powerful so they can enact their will upon other people. And that's the great thing about this country, is that the way they've got it spread out with their system and the checks and balances and all the other things that you learn in Government 101, is that it's made in a way that that power can't be focused into a godhead, political, a Tammany Hall, whatever you want to call it, political machine. And there's a group that are trying to do that. I really think that the people on the left are trying to do this, and it's causing a reaction from the people on the right, knowing where things are going, that it's kind of on par with it, but at the same time, in the background, there's a desire to make things get back to where they were, where we were even in 2012, 2016. So, I lived under Clinton's America. It was not a bad place. I had a great time in the 1990s. I lived under Carter's America. I was a kid, and we all suffered through the inflation, but again, not a bad place. I'm concerned where we're going to go in the next 4 years. I'm concerned when even veiled, these speaking of, at West Point to these new cadets, putting some of this mind trash into their heads, and it is trash. All the thing, they talk about all the, the letter D, and then that other letter E, and then of course you've got the I. They talk about all that here, and they put this into them, and thinking that because your pigment is a certain way, that you're somehow just been like given the divine right of that's what I'm going to call it, the divine right of pigmentation, right? No, it doesn't happen that way. Trust me. None of you would want to grow up the way my father grew up. Okay, I don't know much at all, but I can tell you that my father was damaged by what his father tried to do to him and his mom. Because my dad was the only thing that stood between them in certain instances. So he didn't grow up with a silver spoon. He grew up, in poor ass Kentucky, more than likely headed towards a factory. And thank God he was adept at a sport. So this whole thing with that, and then pumping this crap into our cadets on this is what the country's about. No, it's not. This country's about opportunity. It's about it should be about a meritocracy. It used to be about a meritocracy. Now, are there people that are given everything and grow up and, get everything they want? Yeah, absolutely. But many people aren't that way. Many people, they're fighting and scrapping and scraping like everybody else. I grew up middle class, upper middle class, because my father did all the things that he could to make it that way. because he didn't want to be like his dad and live in the family and chase me and my brother around and do terrible things to our mother. You know, he didn't want to do that. He wanted to break that cycle, and he did. You know, and he's very commendable for it. So all the stuff that they're pumping into their heads, that, you know, all this crap, and it is crap. You know, that you should be a certain way, or you should, you know, take victimization and all that, and think that. I mean, all this is coming from a political ethos that is effectively there to make a class of people subjects, and to also make those people long for a government that will take care of them, a nanny state, if you will, you know. And you're already seeing it. I mean, it's putting it out there, but, you know, conversations about, you know, my bandmates last night, you know, because they don't know everything, but they know some things. And, you know, I said, look, it's not about certain people. It's about an agenda. And there's an agenda going on. These speeches at West Point are there for a reason. These speeches are put there to dog whistle to people in certain ways. To say that, you know, your power is fleeting, and this new class is coming in, this new era is coming in, and we're going to get rid of some of the rights that you have always kind of taken for granted, like your speech and your privacy. And we're going to make it so, you know, you don't got to worry about that anymore, but bad news, you're not going to be able to be critical of what's going on around you. This should happen. We should have a press that says Joe is mocked by critics, you know. So good on Newsweek for calling it, you know. There he is. We'll survive him. We'll survive him again. If he wins in you know, in 5 months, we'll survive him again. We will. He doesn't worry me. What worries me is the next generation of kids thinking that certain political moves are normal for this country, and they're not. Things we've seen in the last few years should not be normalized on many different levels. Things we've seen. We shouldn't have a technocracy running stuff. We shouldn't have a fleet of people in the background, little quislings, you know, running around for the hive, making whatever is the bidding of the thought creators of Mr. Soros and his buddies, his megalomaniacs that think that they are the divine right of kings. Because they are not. And they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So just know that it's out there, and all these things are going on, and you should fear not. You shouldn't. Because there's a hell of a lot more of us than they know. And I see that every day. And that's why do you think there's a desire to control privacy and speech? Because they know. The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems slip through your fingers, as it says, from the previously awesome Star Wars and now the woke crap version of it that I won't watch. And that's what you got to do. You know, you're not going to change anything by being angry or whatever, or doing physical things, taking action, if you will. You're going to fix this by taking your money away. And you're going to say, you know what? Anything that has to do with these certain concepts and ideas, I'm not putting it in there. I'm going to take my money away. You're not getting it. Because trust me, that works. Bud Light shows it. Planet Fitness shows it. All you got to do, I mean, what is these people's God? Their God is money. So how do you beat that? You beat that by taking away their God. That's how you do it. If things go sideways, and you can use whatever your imagination will say with that, take away your money in every way, shape, or form. Grow your own food. Make your own bread. Do whatever it is. Follow all these great prepper channels, because through all of them, you can learn all kinds of stuff. And do whatever it is to keep you as sustainable and out of the system as possible. Because you do not consent. That's what I think should happen. Because I think it's the best way. I mean, if there's anything, you've seen all kinds of stuff happen. Did anybody from January of 2021 in the District of Columbia, anybody of there in that early part, that fateful day, did any of them really change anything by doing what they did? No. But did the people that said, you know what, I'm going to change to Coors Light, did they change things when that thing was put out as a spokesperson? Yes, they did, very quickly. Now, you got to be vigilant, you know. You got to look around. You can't just switch from Bud Light to Budweiser. You know, you got to do your research and all that. But it's important. It's important to be vigilant. It's important to see all these things and to try to affect change in a positive way, but also knowing that you might have to do some things that are uncomfortable, me included. And that's what it's all about right now, you know, where we've had to do numerous things that are uncomfortable, but still, even with all that's going on, this is a great country to live in. Still get to do most of the things I want to do. You know, I get mad at things. I read things. I don't like what's going on with our new neighbors and all that, and I've got no control over that. But, you know, a lot of the people that are new neighbors, they're really into you know, Christianity and God and family and all that. A lot of them are. So maybe we should try to entice them in a certain way. Read a story about how the Republican Party is basically outpacing the swing state people and the Democrats on voter registration. You know, now I wonder if they're also outpacing them in the early voting stuff that is now allowed that I don't like, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. But yeah, things go sideways. You might have to do things uncomfortable. It doesn't mean violent, though. It doesn't mean violent by any way, by any means, you know. So it means you take your money away. That's what I'm prepared to do. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know. I think people need to understand that, because I used to see it all the time. This is a couple years ago. People were mad. You get that comment, you know, you need to. I mean, no, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. We need everybody on the same page. We need people to re-embrace, you know, the concepts of Americanism and what it is. Like I was out today and I'm listening to some rock and roll, and Symphony of Destruction came on by Megadeth. I don't know if you know that song, whatever, you know, and I'm not like a huge Megadeth fan, but I know that song from Dave Mustaine, because at first I thought it was a joke, and then when I listened to it, I just thought, man, you know, good song, because I like the riff, but now, listening to those words of Symphony of Destruction and thinking about what's going on right now, I had this kind of America moment, you know. I was like, man, you know, I remember when this came out, life was good, and I was young, and yada, yada, yada. We don't have to be a part of that Symphony of Destruction. We can get the days of when that song came out back. Things were, you know, a little less volatile. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Let's go to the phones. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Sloth says, I don't think Trump or Biden are fit enough to lead the free world. Maybe not, you know. But again, I mean, that's the way the system is. You know, the way it is that's why he's got all these people that he delegates to. He's not supposed to sit up there and decree. Laws are supposed to be made through two houses in a legislative process. So I agree with you, but it's foolish to ignore Trump's crimes. Well, I mean, he's in a court of law right now, and you could say the same thing to Mr. Biden, Rozzy. I mean, I agree with you, but it's hard to miss Mr. Biden's crimes. What are they? Well, there's a lot of things that people say could have been put into a court of law. Things that he's done. The big guy. So you can say both ways. Let's see. Oh, I got a lot of trolls. Oh, good. Bring the trolls. Say stuff. I think it's great. I hope there are trolls. Troll out, guys. Let me read some of your troll comments. I'd gladly take them on. I'm not, you're not going to say anything that has, like how can you ignore Trump's crimes? Well, how can you ignore Joe's crimes? I bet every single person in our government has committed crimes. So to think that like one person is some shining example of criminal activity is horseshit. Sorry, it is. So, all right, let's go. Yeah, I'm just testing waters. Look at HB 416. Okay, Washburn. We shall look that one up when we're done. Nose picking everybody else. I mean, if people are saying nasty things to me, like you're dumb, stupid, and they're not adding the conversation, then yeah, you can get rid of them. But if these people are actually, saying, hey, what about Trump's crime? That's a legitimate thing to say. He's in court right now for all kinds of other stuff. It's a legitimate thing to ask. What about his crimes? You can ask that. But again, like I said, you could also go the other way with those. When you look at those crimes, air quotes crimes, or what he's in court for, there's a lot of people think that he's in court for things that are basically Banana Republic style political hits. So if he's in a Banana Republic style court political hit, then who really needs to be indicted here? I saw the real estate deal. Let me just go on that one. I don't know anything about the Stormy and the other stuff, but the real estate deal is a guy that has sold houses. Okay, I've sold 2 houses on my own volition. Now, it was during peak time right now, and it was easy to do, but I effectively sold 2 houses. So I've got a little bit of an understanding of real estate and price action and comps and stuff like that in the neighborhood. If you look at the Mar-a-Lago case, the real estate one, where they're valuing his property, this is the former freaking president of the country and all other kinds of stuff, the vaunted Mar-a-Lago, and to make it so like let's say that your house is worth $250,000, or all the houses in a neighborhood are worth $250,000. But you were like a local celebrity. You were a local chef and you had a great restaurant and people there. So people kind of knew who you were, a person in the community. And amongst all of those $250,000 homes, for some reason the county comes out and goes, you know what? We've assessed that your house is only worth $48,000. Even though you've got 3 bedrooms, 2,200 square feet, a relatively new kitchen, 3.5 bathroom, you know what I mean? When you went and you looked at the Mar-a-Lago one, it's literally was like, they're going to price this thing at like 1/5 what just all the other things in the neighborhood were, let alone the notoriety of the former, not just, orange man bad on his own, but also the 45th president. There's a lot of notoriety with that. When a house sells, that history helps. If your home was the boyhood home of John Wayne, it might look like some 1,200 square foot shit shack, but John freaking Wayne lived there, and someone might want to be into that. Might be into. So, look at that criminal case. Look at that whole thing right there, and it's a criminal case. I mean, you want to talk about like Banana Republic action? That's it right there, in person. Anybody with a modicum of just like not like being swayed or the other, one way or the other. They're just there. I just want the truth. I'm not a left, I'm not a right. I just want the truth. Anybody were to read that on its value and you just like retracted the names or whatever, they would look at it and be like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. This is the dumbest real estate criminal investigation I've ever seen. I mean, it literally made a mockery. It's gotten to the point now where even people on the left are like, we're making a mockery of the justice system. It has nothing to do with Orange Man bad. I'm just saying the cases themselves, whether it's Michael Jackson, John Wayne, Hillary Clinton, whoever the hell it is. If it was Hillary Clinton, I'd say the same thing. Like, this is a very terrible thing. If I was watching Hillary Clinton get attacked by the Trump White House and they just went after her, I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't. But I still would be like, you know what, this is not good. And if everybody knows this has been here for a while, I'm not like Mr. Trump by any way stretch of the imagination. In fact, there's some people got mad because I said I might entertain voting for Kennedy. I had one guy in the chat about 2 months ago said, called me all kinds of names because I had mentioned I might vote for Kennedy. Because I live in Maryland and Maryland's blue, and you're looking at the guy who's going to win even now. Doesn't matter what I do. So I thought, what the hell? What do I got to lose? I liked his positions on some stuff from 2020. I did. But, now I think I've gone back to where I might vote again, which, might be Trump. I don't know. I might get busy that day and I might not be able to vote. I'm a busy guy. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm more interested in the health of the country. I'm more interested of what's going to happen after the winner or loser is chosen. I'm more worried about that. I'm not worried about the process of who gets in. I'm more worried about what happens after. Are these people going to run the country in a way that's going to be beneficial to my 5-year-old? That's what I want. If Joe does things that helps my child, great. Awesome. I'm not into the cult of personality. I'm not in the cult of personality of Trump. I'm not in the cult of personality of Biden. I'm not in the cult of personality of anyone. I've met some high up people, folks, with my background. If you knew, I can't tell you, because if you knew some of the people I have met through a previous employment, notoriety, fame, importance, whatever it is, does not impress me. Because I've seen them. I've seen these people when they come out and they've had too many drinks. I've seen them. They're human beings like you and I. There's nothing extra special about them. There's nothing that's like, holy crap, that guy shits gold. No, nothing. Nothing. They're human beings. They fart, they belch, they drink too much, they make stupid statements. Everybody does it. Someone wiped their ass when they were a child. It is what it is. So there's nothing about a human being the only person I kneel to is Jesus Christ, because he is my Lord and Savior. Everybody else below that, besides, certain moments with my wife and my parents back in the day, like the doesn't matter what side of the political realm anybody is on. There's no one on this earth where I'm like, holy crap, I gotta kiss butt and bow down and yada, yada, yada. Not going to happen. But I care about what happens after. I do. So that's a very long thing from a guy that's probably not here anymore. So hopefully I think I've answered your question. And to put it all into a succinct way, I'd say that everybody that is in power or is they've all done things. I mean, technically, I broke the law today. You broke the law today. We all break the law. You supposedly break what, like 3 laws a day or whatever. I'm sure the people that are in control of different countries and stuff, I'm sure they're breaking them left and right. It is what it is. They also took a dump today too. Yeah, probably brushed their teeth, ate something, maybe farted. They're human beings. There's no human being is going to really impress me. So it is what it is. It is a clown show. So, yeah. Yeah, if I'm on a government watch list because I freaking, complain about the government, bring it. It is what it is. I'm not going to do anything violent. I'm too busy. I don't think it'll work anyway. That's why for years now I've come on here and said, take your money away. That's the best thing you can do. Why? Because I've seen it all. Seen people go out and do physical things and try to take action. Doesn't work. You're just going to get your ass slung into jail. That's all you're going to do. It's not going to work. So, Bob Ozo, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, that concerns me. What's going on? I mean, that's why I call them new neighbors. I want to be able to talk about what I'm talking about. I mean, it's concerning what's going on down there. It really is. And like I said, I know probably more than most coming up here are just looking for a better life, but still, you'll get the people on the left side of things who are like, well, they're just trying to be here like they did in Ellis Island and Angel Island. It's like, well, yeah, but they had to go through an island to come here and be vetted and a quick basic check of health and everything else. And, got some kind of a documentation. At least there was something. Now it's I posted a thing on my Subscribe Star and my locals, okay? I have subscription services, and I got great people over there that like what I do, and they're willing to give me a few bucks a month, which you can do here on members only service of YouTube. This car had crossed over from the south into the north, right up here where we live, no, the car didn't cross. They crossed, okay. And the border, the patrol is so busy that they waited at this crossroads. It's couple streets. It's over in America, and supposedly you get picked up, and at that point you get the package to vote a certain way, and yada, yada, yada. These guys waited there for hours, and no one came, to the point where they literally called a freaking Lyft or an Uber to be taken to a place where they could get, quote unquote, caught. That's where we're at with that. That's how bad it is. I mean, it's to the point of just absolute nuts at this point. So anybody that is into that, I'm sorry. You can say, oh, well, it's we're trying to make it like we were back in the 19th century. We're trying to populate the country. It's nothing like that at all. And the way we're doing it, you mark my words, there's going to be some terrible thing that happens. Some terrible thing will happen where they're going to link it back, whether you know it, figure it out or not. They probably won't tell you, but it'll go to where people came and became new neighbors and did something nasty to Americans. It's already happening. It's already happening. And it shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening. They should be figuring something else. But, as many other people have pointed out, both sides profit from it. Both sides profit from it. So, in whatever way. And you can use your imagination into how that is. So, is it aggravating? Absolutely. Am I going to stop it? No, I probably won't be able to stop it. Can I call attention to it? Like showing my people on my subscription service that a couple of dudes had to literally call a Lyft? Yeah, I can do that. There's pictures of them. And the sad thing is, behind them, there's a line of people that probably would have loved to jump into the car, or the trunk at least, And think about those terrible stories. People would come over in these packed trucks and stuff, and then a terrible accident happens and all that. Think about the person in Ohio right now whose child is currently ODing on something because all this crap is coming over into our country. There's so many different things. So many different things. So that's why, when people are talking about what's going on with these leaders and everything, I revere them in no way. There's nothing to revere. There's nothing to be like, ooh, that's, wow, whoa, you're incredible. Can I get your autograph? No. No, there's nothing to revere. I look at them with disdain at best and disgust at worst. Really, most of them. There's a few I like. And I'm not going to like everything they do. I like Thomas Massey in Kentucky. There's some things he's done that kind of aggravated me. It is what it is. You're not supposed to like everything that everybody does. There's things my wife does I don't like. There's things I do. Check this out. This is crazy. There's things I do that my wife doesn't like. I know. She got all angry at me because I said I was going to clean out the garden, right? We're getting ready to do some stuff with the garden tomorrow. And I didn't get things done in time because she was out of town. She was in New York with the kids celebrating my daughter's birthday. She wanted to go and do a little mini trip, little 48 hours. And I didn't get things done. And she came home and she was tired and she was... Aunt Tilly had come to town, for those that know what that term means, and she was not in a good mood. She was mad. So what did I do tonight? I said, all right, we went outside and I did what I said I was going to do, and I cleaned up the whole place. Took 2 hours, but it looks great now. And it's ready. It's ready for everything we need. So we're doing our garden late because we're going on vacation here real soon. Right as soon as kids are cleared from school, we're going on our vacation for the summer, which is usually in July, but we're gonna go and do it. So, but also worked out because my dad, he had his little stint in the hospital, and so now he's out, and I can't wait to see him. So we're gonna go on down and go south to the ocean and do a little recharge for the summer. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, these people, there's nothing special. There's nothing special. They've gotten to places of power because they did things that you and I would never do. Let's be honest. That's what I think. And maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I made a joke with another person I work with. And I said, literally, it's to the point where if I were to go out and get a phone book from any city in America, preferably a small city, not in a red, blue city, and I were to just pick out, 535 names, I'm sure I could do a better job than what's going on now. Really. So, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy that we have the rhetoric. It's crazy that we have, the potential for people to do things and to really go against constitutional precedent and history and tradition for their own political whims. It's aggravating. It's angering me, And the only thing I can do is turn on this camera and anonymously piss and moan to 161 people on this early Monday, Memorial Day. So, I think we're going to wrap this up. And I think our people that serve this country should be noted. It's Memorial Day for a reason. I said this over on the Crisis Report. Because we are in memorial for the people that fought, that signed up, took an oath to the Constitution, and said, I'm going to fight for the country. And you can put all the different scenarios, whether it's 1776 or, Gulf War or whatever, and you can be whatever on whatever. But the people that sign up for duty, almost all of them, are there because they want to do the right thing. They want to, serve the country. So for those that have died, and all of you that know people that have died in your families, or know people that have served, thank them. Say a little prayer for them, and pray for the country. Don't be afraid to pray for the country. Pray for America. Pray for the world. Pray that we get out of this and we don't go and do something stupid in Europe or the Middle East or Asia. Pray for that too. Pray for peace. And pray that, we get out of this current phase of things of basically sore loser, and we get to a point where we're back to integrity and people caring about the country and trying to do things that, help it, and understand that, America is a great place, and it deserves to be that shining city on the hill that leads things. Because I remember when we were kind of leading things, we were in a hell of a less deep duty than we are now. So, So there you go, folks. I appreciate y'all. All right. Good night, Sister Gabriella. I appreciate your patronage. She's been around for a long time. Always comments. God bless you, girl, out in Hawaii. God bless all of you. God bless all of you. Mamacita, Bob Ozo. I'm glad you put it in, man. If you want to email me stuff that you know, you've got my email, PrepperNow at Proton Mail. And yeah, I'd love to see it. But yeah, God bless you all, guys. You're the reason why I'm able to turn this camera on, and things are going in a good way. It's because your patronage, you're subscribing, and your intel, your info, and your information, and your community. PrepperNow community is growing. We're not as big as a lot of the other channels out there, but we're growing. I like to always say this. I think you guys are the smartest subs. I'm lucky. I want to keep it on that level. I want to be intellectual, and we're able to do that. So, all right, friends. God bless. We're going to go out, take your day off tomorrow, reflect on where you are, where we are in this country, and the people that did what they did to make it there, the armed forces, and enjoy yourselves. Have a burger. Love on your family. Chill out. Go to the pool. Do some yard work, which I'm going to basically be doing. And yeah, have a good night. PrepperNow.